guys, this is Pat and Heidi from Rain Country, and here we have another episode or another topic we wanted to talk about in the realm of the preparedness series. And along, I think we've done a food preparation video and a water storage and preparation video, and now we want to talk about
not living in fear.
well, coming from somebody who is a king of fear, that is one of my most difficult things to tackle. But when it comes right down to it, what can you do about it? The best thing we can do is prepare for situations that might lead us into a self-apocalypse or a world apocalypse, or whatever your favorite thing is. Whether your preparedness to the point where you think EMP is going to come along, or some sort of natural disaster comes along. Preparedness is just another way of having another savings account or a backup plan for contingencies that might come your way. Whether it comes to putting emergency flares in your car, there's different facets of preparedness, and some people go as far as put tents and sleeping bags and a week's supply of food in their car. Some people just put a flare kit in their car just in case they break down a spare tire. Some people don't even have a spare tire in their car, or they don't check for air in their spare. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about worry. And the effects that worry can have on a situation where you get in a position where you are faced with life's challenges. So, Mrs. Rain, you want to take off from here?
Yeah. So, though this is part of our preparedness series, there's a lot more to it than and reasons why I wanted to talk about this than just the whole preparedness aspect of it. However, I want to go back a few years when I first really started waking up to some of the things going on in this world, about the horrors of our food supply and just all these different things, where our food is coming from and how toxic so much of this stuff is, and and the things like the fluoride in the water and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, I did go through a bit of a crazy period because I really was starting to be scared of everything and angry about everything. And, part of it was certain voices on the YouTube that I was listening to at the time, and I was every day listened to these voices, and I just found that I was always on edge and angry and scared, and I was having nightmares all of the time as a result.
Well,
Now,
the good thing that comes out of this is...
I think you're going to say exactly what I was just starting to say, but go ahead.
Oh.
I'm curious.
The one nice thing about kind of going to one extreme or the other, depending on what you are, we don't want to offend anybody. There's reasons why people are in different stages of preparedness, and what it really caused us to launch ourselves into really thinking about what we can do to prepare for this. And yeah, you get really concerned, you keep hearing things, I'm one of these folks that I really sincerely believe that you're a product of your environment. If you surround yourself with people and media and books and other things, you're like a moth to the flame, and sometimes you get really steeped into different areas that can lead you into worrying yourself sick.
All I was going to say was fear can be a great motivator. So I don't regret those times of waking up. I wouldn't go back and change a thing as far as that goes, because I learned so much during that time. I may have gone a little bit overboard with the constant steeping myself in it. However, it did wake me up and get me motivated to do something I should have been doing years ago. And I'm glad for that. However, we cannot stay that way. We cannot continue to live in fear of every little thing around us. And that brings me to one of the main things I wanted to talk about, and that is, we did a video about detoxifying our lives. And it is a process, and we are still in that process. And you can go watch that video, and I'll go ahead and link to it up in the iCards. But to go along with that, there's also the other side of things. Yes, we want to try to eliminate as many toxins from our life as we can. However, you will never fully be free from toxins because they're around you, no matter where you go, no matter where you're at. You're always going to be exposed to them from one degree to another. Such things like, and I bring this up because, you know, some people will point things out because people know that I'm trying to be as plastic free as possible. However, plastic does still have its place. So does silicone. At times, still has its place. I am still going to occasionally use some of these things because the way that I'm using them, I do not feel that I have to be afraid of these things. And also because of the fact that we strive very hard to eliminate as many toxins as we can from around us in many ways. I think using a little bit of silicone or a little bit of plastic or occasionally having to ingest a little bit of fluoride or chlorine is not going to kill us, because here's the other thing. Our bodies were made intelligent and were made to expel and get rid of the toxins. And there are other things that we can do that will make up the difference. So I would rather do the best I can to live as clean and toxin free as I am able, as we are able, but I also don't want to be afraid of everything. If you're constantly afraid of every little thing that you touch, you eat, you breathe, then you're living in fear, and that's a toxin that is going to destroy you and your health over time if you continue to live in it. So again, do the best you can to be as clean as possible or to prepare yourself, but don't live in fear of these things. When you buy car insurance or health insurance or house insurance, there might be a little fear involved in there because you think, well, my house could catch on fire someday. And it's funny how we don't have a problem purchasing insurance for our house and our car and our health, but people will have a problem with insurance in the form of putting up food supplies or saving money or growing a garden or having chickens. Why is that crazy when that's something that is always there to keep giving back? Unlike insurance that you pay thousands of dollars into every year, and if you don't use it at any time in that year, that's money you've just thrown away.
You could have took that money and put it in your fireplace and got a few BTUs out of it.
There you go. You would have been more useful that way. So it's a funny fact to me that people don't have a problem, you know, just throwing away all that money on insurances when, you know, and
well, you get indoctrinated with
exactly.
with media, in the forms of television and commercials and different things like, if you don't take this drug or if you don't have this insurance, it could be killing you. And then you have the disclaimer of it could cause diarrhea and temporary death and
temporary death.
you know, all these side effects that you hear on the tail end of these medical or medicinal commercials. You know.
Oh,
anyway, that's another whole thing.
Yeah, don't.
But yeah, I mean, you know, we're surrounded by RF energy. You know, fluorescent lights.
Yeah.
And who's to know that, you know, we have LEDs throughout the house, except for this room. We got fluorescent lights in this room here. But
business room. Yeah.
You know, there's so many things that we can concern ourselves with, and yeah, I think it's wise to do a little bit of research on these things.
Right.
Do what you can to avoid them.
Right.
But you know what? There's just some things you just can't avoid. The video camera that you're watching us through that used to make this video, majority of it's made of plastic. And so if you
Yep.
handle that thing, you're grabbing hold of plastic, there are some things that you have control on. There's some things that you just don't have control on, So I think the message that we're trying to portray here is that, like I said, I'm going through a lot of stress right now, and I'm in the process of dealing with that. But that's one of the toxins, the main toxins that I'm inundated with. But we have to step back and take a realistic look on what we have control on, what we don't have control on. The small things in life that you have control over, get control of that. Get control of that stuff, and then the next thing you'll have more and more control of, and eventually, hopefully down the road, pretty soon you'll be able to own. What am I trying to say, Mallory? We've been married for so long that you can answer,
Actually, no, this time you've kind of got me stunned.
Anyway,
I think I know.
take control of the things you can.
Yep.
Pray about the things that you don't have control over.
Right.
And that is going to do a lot in taking care of some of the stress that we have.
So back to the whole idea of preparedness. So what are other ways you can stop living in fear? Well, I tell you, again, though fear may be a great motivator to get you to prepare for whatever life may throw your way. Again, I mean whatever life may throw your way. We're not doomsday preppers. We're not worried about polar shifts and things like that. We're just trying to be prepared for the everyday things that happen to people all the time and have happened to us in the past. That is it.
We're not saying that
And
polar shifts can't happen and all that stuff.
No.
We're not denying any of that stuff can happen, but we are preparing more for the immediate things that can happen.
That we know happen every day.
And that can stem off into some of these other areas that may or may not come to pass,
And we know we've got a volcano not too far from us. We also have, where we live, we're constantly getting fed this, big story about this earthquake that's going to happen. It's already 300 years late or something, whatever it is.
Well, geologists and or earthologists or whoever they are, they have seismic equipment set up all over the area, and so the professionals are concerned about big major earthquake and a tsunami that's going to kind of devastate the.
Because tsunami is another big fear that that constantly gets pushed on us out here, and we realize these are very likely things to happen here, more likely than any other kind of natural disaster. So yes, we're trying to be prepared for those as well. And so, like Patrick said, we're not against anybody preparing for any big thing, because you should be prepared for that too. But I think the easiest place to start is to think about what is the most likely thing to happen to you. And probably already has happened to you. And lightning does strike the same place twice sometimes. So just because it's never happened or because it's happened before doesn't mean it won't happen or won't happen again. And so it's best to always be prepared. But here's where the fear thing comes back into it again. Is once you start taking control of the fear and of your own life by being prepared, by starting to put away some food, put away some savings, put away some medical supplies, and whatever it is that you need to do, having some water storage, growing a garden, whatever works for you. Obviously, people living in apartments are going to find different ways to prepare, whatever it is. It's okay to let fear motivate you to get you to a point, but don't stay there. Start living your life and realizing that now I'm finding a certain amount of real security that just buying house insurance isn't going to do. Or just trusting what the pastor over at the church says is going to do. Or trusting what my doctor says is going to do.
Yeah.
This is insurance of you taking a hold of your own life and being ready as best you can, and then trusting God with the rest.
So just to let you all know, we're not crazy. We actually have a 10,000 square foot warehouse that is just plumb full of preps. And
No, we don't.
no, we don't. But all we're asking folks, and I think most of the people that watch this channel are realistic in the homesteading
Right.
and preparing community. We try to take a realistic approach on what we do here, and whether it be right or wrong or indifferent, or whether you agree with it or not, it's just what we do. And everybody is situational. Areas
Right.
are situational. So, the things that we show you, we get lots of great comments from folks
Yes,
that
excellent
they're
comments.
sharing their ideas. It's like,
And thank
yeah,
you.
we do that. And occasionally there are things that we don't do. We put up firewood here and extra food and different things like that to hold us over in the event that we can't collect that kind of stuff. So
Right.
so those are all savings accounts. We always look at those as savings
Yes,
accounts.
absolutely.
And,
And we actually did have a time where having extra firewood on hand was, it was a must, because when he was working out of the area and there was no way we were able to
Right.
get out for a whole year to get firewood.
Mhm.
And I was really grateful we had some stores, but not as much at that time as we have now, because it was at that time that we started really realizing the importance of
Ramping up.
of being even farther ahead, because you never know when something can happen or an illness can strike, that would keep you from being able to get out and get your own firewood, and maybe you don't have the money to buy it from somebody else. So even that is really important. You've got to have a way to heat.
Got to cut hay when the sun shines.
Yeah, make hay when the sun shines, right. So something that Mr. Rain said earlier that I want to come back to is that each one of us, we're all unique. We're going to have areas where what we do is exactly the same, and areas that are very, very different. This does not mean that there's one right or wrong way. What this means is there is a right way for you, and your right way is going to suit you and your family, just like our way is going to suit us. However, we should also stay open-minded enough when it comes to learning from each other, because with the comments that people have shared in their own videos, I hope people will start putting out more videos related to this, because I think it would be a good idea that we can keep hearing and learning from each other and the different things that we do, because we might glean some things that really will apply to us, and some things we might say, that's a good idea, but no, it's not going to apply to us, but I can see that being a good idea for so-and-so over here, and we might want to share that with this person. So there's never too much information on this, and again, there's not one right way. It's what is best for you is what's right.
And hearing it again from somebody else, things that you do,
Right.
is just affirmation that,
Yeah, and
oh,
it's so
okay, yeah, they're doing
encouraging.
it too, so that's, okay, we must be doing something right.
If fear is what's motivating you to get you off the couch to start really doing what you need to do to take care of the future of yourself and your family, then go for it. But do not live in that fear.
The thing, well, I'm sorry.
Learn to find contentment and joy in what you do, because preparing and all of this stuff can be fun, and it can be a challenge that should be enjoyed rather than simply living in the fear, which is toxic.
And the thing, that's a good point, but the one I want to add to that is that think of the negative crippling effects of fear and what it doesn't do for you and what it does for you. What it does for you is it causes you to get up off the couch or think about getting an extra 50-pound bag of beans next month or whatever the case may be. But if you let it get away, if you let it, fear is there for a reason. Fear is healthy to some respect, but if you let it overtake you, then it starts affecting your memory, your response to different things, the
Right.
ability to think things through, and to all those things that can mess with the body and the mind.
And it brings your blood pressure up. It's actually a symptom of an underlying problem, which could be stress, that you're so afraid of everything all the time that you're stressed, and that is what is naturally bringing your blood pressure up. It's not the disease in itself, it's what's going on. And so fear can have an effect on your physical health by causing, it's very detrimental all the way around. So it can cause you to have chronic high blood pressure, and it can cause you to have gut issues, and like he was saying, it's going to affect your mental capacities in so many different ways. And
there'll be a snowballing effect.
Right.
You know, if you keep living in fear and you have that adrenaline always going and your mind is always working, you start getting headaches and foggy thinking, and
yeah.
you know, I know this firsthand, but fear is a healthy thing. It's a necessary thing. It's a natural thing. But if you don't get control of that fear, then that fear will overtake you, and you'll become inefficient. You'll become, well, there's a whole gamut of different things that it can affect. So somehow, some way, if you can control small aspects of your fear, like, gosh, I don't think I have enough food, you know, if I can't get to the store, well, start doing things about that. Start correcting those issues. Man, I don't have a spare tire for my car. Well, you know, however long it takes you to save up money to get a spare tire for your car, maybe you should, you know, incorporate that into your resolve and be able to take control of some of those smaller things. And it's just like in our getting out of debt series that we had with Living Traditions. You know, we took care of the small debts, got those out of the way, and then we started getting to the bigger debts, and pretty soon you're out of debt. And again, that's another thing that we slowly over time, you know, that big monster, that big mortgage debt out there, you know, that was a big stress reliever right there, is to get that taken care of. You know, not a lot of people are in that situation where they have that ability to be able to do that, but I think we all do. If the bank is giving you a loan, that means you have the capacity to make payments on that thing. And so you know, it's up to you to try to take care of some of those stressful things and take control of them and figure out a way to make the small ones go away.
All right, let's do a recap before we finish this video. So first of all, only allow fear to be your motivator to get you to do what you need to do to make the changes in your life to become more prepared for whatever may happen, to become more free from toxins in your life, but don't allow it to control your life. Don't allow anyone else to tell you what you have to do, or what jeans you're supposed to wear, or what cool coffee you're supposed to drink, or what drug you're supposed to take. Take control of it yourself. Do what you can. Trust God with the rest, and you will find peace and contentment, and you can start putting the fear behind you and just live life to the fullest.
Just do the best with what you got.
All right, well, we hope you enjoyed this video and that maybe we shared some new ideas with you that will help bring you peace.
Or resurrected some old ones.
That
Give you something
too.
to think about again.
Thanks for watching.
Take care.
And God bless. You keep doing that every time I'm trying to close the video.